What if I told you that the law that you fear was never meant to enslave you? And what if every rule, every contract, every statute was just a mirror, showing you how conscious or unconscious you really are? You are never powerless, you are just uninformed. Today we're going to be bridging the two worlds, a discipline and modern law, to prove that freedom isn't a rebellion, it's a mastery. Now, before we dive into this video, this is going to be a little bit different. We are going to be getting a little bit deeper and talking about philosophy and more on the spiritual side of things. But I do want to highlight that this is not legal advice. This is not financial advice. Remember to do your due diligence. Also, like the video, hit the subscribe button if you like content like this. Now, one of the primary reasons why I'm in the space of consumer law is simply because of my philosophies, okay? I understand that the world is the way it is, okay? And things are the way it is. And you can get upset about it or you can get with it, okay? So, in kind of compounding back on my last video where I specifically talked about man-made law versus natural law, okay? And there is a mix of people who obviously are on the side of laws don't apply to you or statutes don't apply to you. And then there's the side of people who either don't know that and believes that laws are law. And when I say laws are law, I'm talking about the laws that are created by, man. And then there's a group of people who is even deeper, more so on the spiritual side, and understand that when it comes to everything we do in this current lifetime, when we're dealing with contracts and we're dealing with money, everything is happening in your spirit, okay? I always talk about this energy source. So we're going to be bridging the two gaps, and I'm going to be speaking more from a spiritual side of things and help you understand the argument that the sovereign person would have, okay? And I do agree with a good amount of these points. I'm just more on the aspect of doing whatever it is that it takes so that you can be able to achieve what you want to achieve in life, okay? In the physical, all right? Now, thank you for watching the video. Let's dive into another one. Now, one of the things that I've learned, all right, is that, and this is what the Stoics taught, all right? The Stoics taught that you can't control the world, you can only control your response to it. And that's super important because a lot of times people think that their circumstances is what puts them in a position that they are in, but it's really your response to your circumstance. So in the case of you being in debt or a debt collector doing something dishonorable to you, your response will determine the control that you have of the world, okay? If you do not respond to it, then you are not in control, okay? You don't even have a chance to control it. But if you do, now you have some level of chance to be able to control what or how it affects you, if that makes sense. Epictetus said that no man is free who is not the master of himself. So true sovereignty starts in the mind before it even reaches a courtroom or contract. Now, why do I say this? Because for the people who want to be a national sovereign, you can become that. It is absolutely true for you to become that. But these principles have to be etched in your mind before, I won't even say before, but you won't truly be able to fully understand that or exercise that gift if you don't have this in mind, all right? Because yes, the sovereignty is going to be put on paper. You dig what I'm saying? And yes, it will be apparent that you are separate from your legal person, okay? But if you know that you were born to be able to maneuver through this world with no limitations, you would believe that you were sovereign. You wouldn't believe that you was a slave to something. That makes sense. As a matter of fact, you wouldn't be asking for permission. But instead, we sit and we ask for permission. And if you're in a place where you're asking for permission, then you'll never truly reach sovereignty, okay? And I'm talking about in the case of things that you feel like should come into your life, things that you feel like you deserve, if that makes sense. You should never really have to ask. It's more of you either attract it or you go and get what it is that you want or do what you want to do. All right. Marcus Aurelius said that the universe is change. Our life is what our thoughts make it. That's the first law, the internal one. Order creates order without. So when you study law, business, or banking, do it like a stoic. Don't seek loopholes, seek understanding. Don't look for an escape, look for an alignment. See how you can be able to connect the dots, bridge the gap to be able to benefit your life. All right. When you're in a space of trying to be emotional about these things, when you're in a space where you are feeling like this shouldn't happen like this, why me? Then you're already not in the right mindset. Okay. You're already moving like a victim. This is why you wouldn't go as far as you want to go. All right. But until you accept responsibility, all right, until you stop trying to seek a shortcut and actually try to overstand your life, that's when your life will become easier. Because when you know yourself, man, you know exactly what God created you for. Okay. Now, let's really connect and dive into what the Bible says. All right. Now, the Bible says that in Romans 2:15 that the law is written on their hearts. Every spiritual text repeats that truth, that divine law isn't really hidden. It's actually inscribed in our conscious. So everything that is written in the book, everything that is written in the Bible, any religious text, tablet, constitution, okay? It's already in us, all right? Our nature, when we're thinking of natural law, that is in our nature to move that way. And obviously, if it isn't something that is in our nature, that's where they kind of put contracts or statutes a part of it, all right? Before there were statutes, there was a character. The 10 Commandments, the Tao, the Stoic logos, all versions of the same principle, natural order governs all things. Okay? It doesn't matter what walk of life that you come from. Okay? When man-made law drifts too far from moral law, corruption grows. When conscience and conduct realign, justice returns. So, it's almost like our consciousness battles with the structure. And this is why we do have that push and pull. All right. Now, let's look a little bit closer. Even the man-made system still echoes natural law. All right. The Constitution begins with we the people. Consent of the governed. That is stoicism turned into a statute. Okay. Contract law requires a meeting of the minds. That's a moral agency on paper. Okay. When I talk about the Constitution we send conditional acceptance, one of the things that we ask is if we are meeting in the minds. Do our minds align? If it doesn't align, this contract is not enforceable. Okay? Now, we can say this is not enforceable on paper, but it's also not something that you are bound to spiritually. Okay? So you never should feel bad if you ever want to challenge a contract that you don't agree with. All right. Under 15 U.S.C. 1692, the FDCPA forbids deceit and harassment in collections. Do no harm in legal form. So for my people that are on the sovereign side that say one cannot do no harm, this is how they broke down that statute and pretty much connected it to natural law. OK, so that's that in the legal form. But then when you look at 15 U.S.C. 1681, which is the Fair Credit Reporting Act, it demands truth in credit reporting. Commit no fraud. And that's essentially that in black ink. Okay, because it talks about identity theft. It talks about permissible purpose. It talks about the consent of your information. It talks about how one can opt out of someone reporting information on them. Okay, we can also talk about the Truth in Lending Act. Okay, all in some way, shape, or form connects with natural law in some way to be able to opt out of some of the man-made creations like debt. You know what I mean? Like these banking systems and things in that nature. To be able to overcome and fight back against things that you may feel like doesn't connect with your spirit. But you have to know them. But here's what I want you to see. That the moral law never vanished. It just put on a suit. All right. The problem isn't the system. It's the citizens forgetting they are the system. This is why I always talk about on this channel that you are the value. You are the one that pretty much is the reason why the United States has its power that it has today. Simply because you are the value. All right. Now, let's talk about the power of consent, because this is exactly why we get into contracts today. All right. Every agreement and every yes is a transfer of power. You gather that. Now, you sign without reading, you gave your power away. You click without thinking, you gave your energy away. You complain without acting, you surrendered it. So when I talk to some of my clients, or I talk to new people and they say, well, I sent the letter a couple of months ago, they did not respond. At this point, you are complaining and not acting, so you surrendered your power. This is what I don't want you to do. That is the whole premise of what is on my channel, is the fact that I don't want you to surrender your power. Okay? And right now, there are some elements of you that have gave your power away unknowingly. And part of this channel is to bring awareness and consciousness around what is going on in the world so that you can be able to take your power back. Do you gather that? So your response, and whatever you believe in, but just looking at the reality, it isn't the fact that you should be outraged or annoyed or upset or angry. You should be using it as an opportunity to observe, to be able to learn what is actually going on, to see how you can be able to do it differently. I always tell people to ask themselves, what is in my control right now? What do I have control over right now? I talk to people that want to get funding, but they have no plan in place. They don't know how they're going to make the money or how they're going to invest the money. And a lot of people feel like they can't move far in life until they remove their debt, until they have that business, until they have that new camera, until they have that whiteboard, until they have those clothes, until they get that apartment, until they get that office. But if you truly want to grow, you have to ask yourself, what's in my control right now? Is it in my control to actually send a letter to the company? Can I actually write a letter? Is it in my control to at least learn how to do it? What tools do I have now? If I want to make $10K a month and I don't have any money to invest in a business that will make me $10K a month, what can I do right now to be able to make $10K a month? If I have to cut 100 people's grass to make $500 or $5,000, then I would do it. I think that's what, $50 a piece per grass. So you have to be strategic. And part of this channel is to teach you how to be a critical thinker. This is a lost art. The fact that we do not want to critically think. We want people to just tell us the answer. And this is going to put you behind majority of people. Or as a matter of fact, that is why majority of people are behind, because they don't want to think at a higher level. They don't want to critically think. Or they idolize and say they are a critical thinker or a higher thinker, but never actually do that. You know what I mean? Well, I've thought higher one time, so I'm a higher thinker. Or I thought about astrology, or I read one statute, so I'm a higher thinker. Don't idolize being a higher thinker, because in my opinion, being a higher thinker is not, quote unquote, what people think is better. You know what I mean? Because you're going to see the world for what it is. Okay? Ignorance won't be bliss to you. Or as a matter of fact, ignorance is bliss, right? But once you do know the world, it's just more of you accept it. And I'm not at all saying that I'm an even higher level of thinking, but I'm working towards that. So I have to practice the things that I believe higher thinkers would do. Would they get upset at a circumstance, or would they figure out how they can respond much better? Okay? Would they try to learn it? So read, learn, and respond. Every contract you sign, every claim you file, every arbitration you demand, those are acts of sovereignty, not of rebellion. Do you get that? Some of us think that sovereignty is just the paperwork, but sovereignty is everything that you're doing now. When you decide to go against the system, it's not you rebelling against the system. It's just you being a free thinker. It's you being different from the next person. That's what makes you sovereign. Freedom isn't refusing to play the game. I think that's what a lot of people think that sovereignty is. I don't play the game. I don't have any responsibilities. I am free. But just because you're free in some elements doesn't mean that you know, can freely do what it is that you want, depending on where you want to do. I mean, if you want to be in the woods, then yeah. But when that bear is in the woods, he's not going to freely let you just chill in the woods. Y'all going to fight over that meal, that fish in the water, right? It's different out in nature. They are free, but freedom is a blessing and a curse, okay? For some people who don't know how to truly exercise that. So learning the rules so deeply that you can never be played again. That is the whole aspect, the whole point of reading the Constitution. That's the whole point of learning how to communicate with debt collectors. That's the whole point of getting closer to financial freedom. Because right now, these things are blocking your mind. Because of debt, you feel mentally enslaved. So all you think about is your debt. Because of money, because of your lack of money, that's all you think about is the money. But what you should truly be thinking about is how you can grow each and every day. And it isn't just about money. It isn't just about debt. These are just pieces that help you grow every single day. Does that make sense? Now, here's how I would move through the system. Okay, a person who is not going to just move based off of emotion, is going to move based off of truth, and actually is going to try, get a result. Not try, but get a result. It doesn't matter when. Number one, don't get stuck in the sovereign citizen, or sovereignty argument, if that makes sense. All right. At least if you are trying to get rid of your debt, or if you're trying to actually become, financially free. And when I say the sovereignty argument, I'm talking about, being obsessed with that. You know what I mean? Because you already are sovereign. That's the point. Okay. You just have to exercise your free will and do the work. You know what I mean? A sovereign would be somebody who is free, or a king, a queen. A king and queen does whatever they want. Not because it's just handed to them, or some is passed down, but it was work done that put them in that position. So you have to position yourself. Well, it starts in your mind. And once you have it in your mind, you understand that all you have to do is position yourself. So, number one, study procedure. Know how to file a complaint, a motion, a CFPB report. Being calm, precise, and factual. Learn how to use the statutes. Learn that they connect both hand in hand with the natural law and the man-made law. Okay, they're not traps. They are tools. Stay in honor. Never lie. Never ghost. Never rage. All right? Every word builds your credibility. So if you don't get a response from that debt collector, reach out to them. Okay? Don't get emotional. Don't get upset. Just communicate. All right? And if you don't do your part, accept that you didn't do your part. Don't play a victim and say, well, damn, this system shouldn't be this hard. Could, should, would. Could, should, won't. Could, should, don't. I won't do this. And because you say that you won't do it, you end up not doing it at all. All right? It's one of my favorite quotes. Now, control your emotions. This is the biggest thing. The loudest person loses leverage. The calmest one collects. When you act with clarity, the system adjusts around you. But when you don't move with that, the system is going to go against you because you don't know how to maneuver through it. That's the real influence. The kind that banks will quietly respect. It's not that you want to be a friend with the bank. It's not that you want to completely not use the bank at all. It's not that you want to, destroy the banking system. But how could we just now have a mutual respect where now we're benefiting off each other? See, for the people that have charge cards and credit cards and they invest in their business and their business makes money, well, they look at the banks as probably someone that they would prefer to do business with than their own family. And yeah, it sounds like you wouldn't work with your family, but no, I mean, we're trying to grow a business. If my family want to be a part of it, we gonna do it, right? But I do know that I can go to this bank, take my credit report with an 800 credit score or more, and I can literally get a certain amount of money and invest in my project. Okay? Now, let's talk about the myth and essentially how to master this mindset. All right? So let's first just be honest with ourselves. Magic words don't erase debt. Okay? You can go into court and you can say all this extravagant, biblical terms and all of that. You can even write it in your letters and all of that. Even some of the stuff about natural law. Or even you can write a statute in a letter, but it is not going to erase your debt. Okay? It's only going to set the stage for a reason why you are even challenging the debt, such as a non-compliance, such as some fraud, such as a misuse or misrepresentation, such as harassment. Okay? UCC filings won't make you untouchable. So thinking that you're going to file a UCC1, get your private trust or become sovereign, or you're going to pay somebody to put together your sovereign documents and you're never going to have to pay a bill again. You'll never get stopped by the cops. You never have to go to court, right? It won't make you untouchable. If anything, those people who do the paperwork, they have to know the system even more, because there's plenty of people that come to me who have this paperwork in order and they still don't know what they're doing. Okay? They don't even know what paperwork gave them that. So now when it's time for you to put that company on notice about who you are and who you say you are, you can't even explain the documentation that you have. This is why I don't tell people to just jump into the sovereignty, conversation or wanting to be sovereign in private. And I'm speaking to those people that think that sovereignty is true financial freedom. Okay? It's only a step. All right? And claiming sovereign status won't stop the enforcement. They're going to still attempt to collect the debt. They're going to still reach out to you. The truth is that what people are actually doing is not filling out UCC1s. Yes, they are doing that, but it's based off of understanding, a model of protecting your assets. Okay, negotiating with debt collectors through your trust. All right. If you're not like that far in the wealth, I'll be honest, you really should only create a trust if you are like genuinely have something to protect. You know what I mean? Someone will say, well, I want to do it so I could be able to put my claim ownership over my straw man. Well, you think that that's going to give you more benefit, or that's going to, give you something. Like, I had to ask you, what do you hope to get from that? You hope millions of dollars are going to drop into your account, or that a police officer can't pull you over? Yes, they will get the do not detain flag and all of that, national and all that. And these things do help, but you have to know how to use them. Okay? So it's actually an advanced thing. All right? But I always speak to people and I say, hey, the sovereignty starts in your mind. And if you are sovereign, you can exercise these things or do any of these things. But it starts in your mind. So the myth seeks an escape. So they think that doing or understanding or getting sovereign or discharging your debt is going to be an escape. But that's not the truth. The escape is from being asleep. You'll actually wake up. That makes sense. I hope you guys really understanding me. Mastery seeks understanding. So everything that you're doing, it's about understanding, overstanding, understanding, whatever it is that you want to say. Okay? Because that is mastery. Okay? Number 2. One hides from the law, tries to find legal loopholes and all of that. But the reality is, this is why you're not getting results, because you don't want to learn the law. Okay? You think you'll get by just, citing, spiritual text. And then when the courts don't recognize it, now you look dumb. Now you wasted your time. And the other people use the law, the people who are actually doing it, use the law as a weapon. Okay, we have no attachment to the law. We're not saying that we are actually bound by the law, but to use the law strategically to be able to overcome our problems and actually benefits, that's the point. You can't get rid of them. All right? Natural law and civil law were never enemies. They're reflections, one moral, one mechanical. The Stoic sees both as disciplines, and the spiritual man sees both as mirrors of divine order. The strategist sees both as leverage. The higher the order isn't someone else, or the higher order isn't someone else. It's in how you carry yourself inside this one. That's sovereignty in motion. If you put yourself, like if you think of yourself as a higher being, okay? And not like you're above anybody or you're egotistical or you are, created everyone or that you're God. But if you put yourself in that shoes, how would you move? People say, well, what would Jesus do? Okay. Some people will Marcus Aurelius do. Some people, and I'm not an expert. Okay. But the whole point is those people were seen as higher beings. All right. And I'm not saying that you can't. I'm not saying that they aren't as high as they are, but I'm saying that if you put yourself in their mindset, imagine how they're thinking on this world. This is why they was able to carry out good things and accomplish the things that they wanted to accomplish. Okay? So the law doesn't care about emotion. It responds to precision. The universe doesn't answer fear. It answers order. So stop trying to outrun the system. Stand still, learn it, and master it. Thank y'all for watching this video. Comment the word order down below if you're ready to build freedom from the inside and out. Also down below, tap in with me with the Fund Yourself Academy. You can get in there for free. 20 more members away from 1,000 members, and the price will go up. Okay? So tap in, get grandfathered in. Thank y'all for watching the video. Remember, if you want to work with me one-on-one, I have a mentorship down below. All right, tap into that application. Thank y'all for watching the video. I love y'all, and more on the way. This video is sponsored by the Fund Yourself Academy. My step-by-step system designed to help you fix your credit, get funding, and build real financial freedom from scratch. If you're tired of feeling stuck, overwhelmed, or just ready to stop living paycheck to paycheck, this is where it changes. Inside the Academy, I break down everything from consumer law secrets that they don't teach in school to how to remove negative items and boost your score, get access to business funding, and start building multiple income streams online. Whether you're just starting out or ready to level up your game and get the bag, this is your playbook. We've got tools, templates, dispute letters, mentorship calls, private community access, and an exact roadmap I use to leave my 9-to-5 and create time freedom. But only for a limited time, you can get access to the Fund Yourself Academy on a free trial basis for the next 7 days. And then after that, you pay less than $1 a day at $27 a month if you like it. No fluff, just facts and just freedom. Go to thefundyourselfacademy.com or hit the link in the description to join now, because nobody's coming to save you, but you can fund yourself.